Thank you. When I was asked to perform this keynote address, I immediately said yes. Absolutely, I said. It'd be an honor to speak to such a talented, hardworking, and diverse group. And they said, great. There's one catch. You got to wear this funny hat. All right, I said, but in exchange, I get to swear freely. And they said, no. No, you may not. Shoot. Okay, before we get into things, I have two requests to ask of you. The first is that at some point today, you take a private moment of reflection and congratulate yourself on the accomplishment of becoming a student at Oregon State University. Just appreciate the moment, acknowledge all the hard work that you have done to be here today. You have made a wonderful opportunity for yourself. Here's my other request. Can we get a thundering round of applause for all of your fellow classmates? I want to see strangers high-fiving each other. Who is high-fiving? I want to see big smiles, people. This is a big deal. This is a big deal you're here. That was awesome. Thank you. As you heard in the introduction, much of my day is spent thinking about rhetoric, the art, study, and practice of communication and persuasion. Those who study rhetoric are fascinated by the power of symbolic language to move us to meaning. And I study rhetoric because I've seen firsthand, and I suspect you have as well, the power that words have to influence our behavior, shape our identities, and inform the way that we perceive the world around us. I'm here today to talk to you about two words in particular: curiosity and habit. Curiosity, a desire to learn more about ourselves and our world, and habits, action patterns that have become so routine they're almost involuntary. These are the two powerhouses of persuasion. So I thought it'd be helpful to provide you with a rhetoric professor's insider guide to how you can make curiosity and habit work for you. And we're going to do that by considering the way that they work in tandem. So what I'm hoping you'll leave with here today is a strong sense of why it's worthwhile to develop a habit of curiosity and a curiosity about habits. But I also want to offer some how along with the why, and provide some specific suggestions to help you flourish here at Oregon State. So why develop a habit of curiosity? But before we get there, we need to clear something up about curiosity. Now, I don't know if your mother ever used the phrase, curiosity killed the cat, to discourage you from heading off to some place that you shouldn't be, but my mother did. And she would say it in this icy, calm way, with this tone that was more sinister dare than protective advice. And I would look around and she'd go, you know, curiosity killed the cat. And so as a kid, I thought, oh man, that poor cat. And it wasn't until I began teaching and I began to see the extensive benefits of curiosity in higher education that I started to wonder, man, I think curiosity was wrongly convicted. I think curiosity got framed. And guess what? I was right. I got curious about the phrase, curiosity killed the cat, and its history. So way back in the day, in the original Proverbs usage, it wasn't curiosity that felled the feline. It was care, which at the time meant worry or anguish. Now, care shares a similar Latin root with curiosity, cura. And at some point, several hundred years after the phrase care killed the cat was used by playwrights like Ben Jonson and Shakespeare, somewhere a mix-up happened and care got swapped in for curiosity. So basically it got a raw deal from a sloppy proofreader. So what can we learn from this? One, curiosity can lead to discoveries that invite us to reconsider long-held beliefs. 2, always proofread. 3, watch out for worry. It's a cat killer. Now, I could easily spend the next half hour listing reasons why habits of curiosity are beneficial to you, but that would be incredibly boring, and I respect you too much to be boring today, so let me get right to the point. Curiosity makes learning more effective, more efficient, and crucially, more enjoyable. And although we aren't entirely clear why this is and more research needs to be done, recent work in neuroscience sheds some light on why curiosity and learning play so well together. When people experience a flow of curiosity, it triggers a rush of dopamine, a chemical that activates the reward-seeking centers in our brain. So curiosity ignites the same neural pathways that light up when people crave chocolate or nicotine or desire to win a race. So curiosity basically primes your brain for learning. I appreciate how one scientist from UC Davis put it in a case study in the journal Neuron. Once you get this ramp up of dopamine, the brain becomes like a sponge that's ready to soak up everything that's happening around it. So when you have curiosity driving your learning process, rather than, say, points on an assignment or a particular curriculum requirement, you're primed to learn more and learn it faster. And that's cool and that's helpful, but the fact that curiosity-driven learning makes things more fun, that to me is the best part. You get the good buzz that comes from having made a discovery, a connection. You get that unique feeling of self-satisfaction when you feed that hunger to learn. Just think about this. You have at your disposal a way to make learning in any class stronger, faster, and more fun. I'm not even charging you for this advice. Is that fair? It's free. You can have it. Here's more. Curiosity activates empathy. It helps us envision another person's perspective and consider another's frame of reference. Being curious about how others see the world, especially those outside of our regular social circles, expands our empathetic capacities and in turn improves our ability to care for others, to work with others, and to stand up for others. Curiosity also breeds creativity, in large measure because curiosity helps you see connections among ideas and across topics. Curiosity generates the kind of creativity that enables inventors and writers and artists and scientists to envision unique connections. It was curiosity that led George de Maistre to look more closely at the thistleburs sticking to his dog's fur, and from his observation of the snaggy hooks and loops, created Velcro. It was Tolkien's wide-ranging curiosity about theology and Norse mythology and linguistics that made Lord of the Rings possible. So one last thing about curiosity. It's sexy. No one has ever said, oh man, there's just something about how incurious she is I just find so attractive. You're like, oh man, the way that he has no desire to learn anything about all the fascinating things happening around him is so hot. It just doesn't happen. So yes, there are astounding benefits to curiosity, but let me be perfectly clear. You will have to work for those benefits. You have to invest in your curiosity for it to pay off. You have to exercise curiosity like you would any other muscle. And that's the curious thing about curiosity. It's use it or lose it, which is why I'm encouraging you to build a habit of curiosity. It is indeed something that can be strengthened and improved with regular practice and eventually, over time and with enough work, become second nature. I emphasize the effort that goes into creating habits of curiosity because I know that there will be times in your education when curiosity will not arise easily, nor will it seem sustainable. You're going to have challenging course topics, difficult coworkers, big knotty problems like discrimination and climate change. But if curiosity becomes a habit and you keep that fire stoked, it'll get easier and easier to get engaged, to learn more, to learn faster, and have fun doing it. Dig? Dig. Now, perhaps you're saying, that all sounds great, Dr. Dude in a funny hat. But how? Right, good call. Okay, so here are some techniques for crafting curiosity as a habit of mind. Number one, ask questions, especially those that begin with why and how. This summer, I spent some time with a 3-year-old who had mastered the art of two things, pointing and asking why. And he showed me the threshold of my knowledge faster than any college course that I have ever taken. And later on in the afternoon, while he's napping, I am Googling how car horns work and why mirrors reflect our images. It was exhausting and awesome. So get in the practice of asking questions, especially those that begin with why and how. Okay, number two, press the pause button on your judgment. In the rush to like and dislike, agree, disagree, say, that's cool, that's not cool, we deprive ourselves of close observation. We throw away the chance to ask perfectly good questions, perfectly usable questions. Just throw them away. By disrupting that habit of insta-judgment, we give ourselves the space and the time to pay closer attention, and think about things. Actually think about things. Okay, number three, each quarter, try to engage at least one person who runs in social circles very different from your own. Ask respectful questions. Attend to the experiences of others. Learn more about their perspectives, their backgrounds, and their opinions. The diversity within this university is squandered without the habit of curiosity that can learn from it. Number four, take curiosity walks. Go wander and wonder at the redwoods, the volcanic rock, the fertile soil, the wildflowers, the rivers. Get outside, get curious about the birds that are going overhead, the fish that are swimming in the stream, especially those that swim upstream. They need our help. Get outside, and when you do, look and listen with your entire body. Finally, number five, read a lot, widely. Things that confuse you at first, things you don't agree with. Read fiction, read nonfiction, read cereal boxes, instruction manuals, read the fine print. Read a lot, widely. Seriously, read. Our baccalaureate core classes here at Oregon State are a perfect training ground for you to flex your curiosity and test these techniques. These courses offer the opportunity to think critically and creatively across a range of disciplines. Actively practice curiosity in these classes, especially the ones that you don't naturally gravitate towards. And what you'll get out of them, fundamental skills in analysis, critical thinking, problem solving, these will aid you in every aspect of your life, professional and personal. Of all the things that I want to encourage you to get curious about, though, there's one in particular I want to emphasize, a curiosity about habits. And why is this? Because habits are crazy powerful. A study out of Duke University showed that about 40% of daily actions in someone's typical day were not the results of conscious decisions. They were habits. They were automatic responses to certain cues. They were routines performed so many times that setting them in motion required very little conscious thought, if any at all. Now, habit is useful because it triggers what we want to have happen and expends little effort in the process. But a curious thing about habits is that they often form when we're not paying attention. So the inherent risks that habits offer is that they can blind us to our role in choosing what we pay attention to and how we act as a result. This is the perfect time for you to develop a keen awareness about your habits, because you're entering a new environment with new people and new opportunities and new challenges, and you are on the cusp of having to develop new routines. So I encourage you to take extra care in the coming months to keep alert and curious when building these habits. It will be much easier to set healthy habits at the beginning of your education than to change detrimental habits down the road. And we don't actually get ever rid of bad habits. They remain in our brain's neural pathway. They're simply overridden by more powerful habits. But you can skip that process if you simply start building quality habits right now. Automatic actions that will set you up for success with your courses, your personal passions, your bodily health, your mental health, your social health. If you do this, you've built your own fast track. So how might one go about developing curiosity of habits? I'm so glad you asked. I just happen to have the answer. Start by paying attention to patterns of behavior. Do you pace when you're talking on the phone and start cleaning and suddenly you can't find your keys or your wallet or the dog leash or the dog? I'm not saying I do this. I'm just saying it might happen to some of you. Do you put your left sock on first or your right sock? When you brush your teeth in the morning, do you always start in the same position? When you're standing in line, what's your immediate cue to do while you're waiting? When your phone beeps a text, what's your initial impulse? You can sensitize yourself to these everyday behaviors that are often invisible precisely because they're routine. And when you pay attention to routine, you become aware of self-limiting habits, and you attune yourself to opportunities for forming productive ones. I'll give you a quick, if somewhat embarrassing example. When I met the woman who would eventually become my wife, she called out a particularly unproductive habit. Whenever I would screw up, I would say, "Tim Jensen, you're an idiot." And if she heard me say it, she would say, "Don't you mean, well, that was silly." And over time it worked. The outburst of self-scorn became the automatic observation of, well, that was silly. Now, here's the trick. It's very difficult to take your self-rage sincerely with the word silly. And she knew this. And as a result, I was able to move past those instances and move into a kind of growth mindset where I could get past the silliness and look at how to do things differently. Curiosity about your habits will provide you with the self-knowledge essential for changing them. College will present you with a dazzling variety of ways to procrastinate. So when you notice yourself flipping on Netflix instead of beginning research for your history paper, being aware of what you feel in that moment, and it's very likely a natural preference for comfort over anxiety, being aware of that will allow you to pause and acknowledge the cues for that self-limiting habit. Then the question for you becomes, how can I make myself more comfortable with this research? So when becoming curious about your own habits, it might be useful to begin wondering about our normalized collective habits. Again, ones we perform without thinking, that figure into those knotty problems: climate change, racial, gender, and economic inequality, civil injustice. The next 4 years are your opportunity to discover and cultivate the kinds of habits that might inspire solutions to these problems. So, to close out this insider's guide to crushing it at Oregon State and beyond, I'll just give you 3 specific recommendations that, when practiced with the regularity of routine, that establishes them as habits will give you an edge for the next 4 years. First, write. Write a lot. Let me tell you why. Writing is frequently characterized as a means of expression, an act of externalizing thought. And this isn't the full truth. If writing were only the process of transcribing fully formed thoughts, it probably wouldn't be so damn difficult. And one of the main reasons why writing is so challenging and so rewarding is because writing is a means of thinking. Writing is a tool for thought, not just to express thought. It's a way to work through problems, reflect on situations, which is often why we come to understanding through the act of writing. And this is why I'm encouraging you to make a habit of it. But just so we're on the same page, I'm not talking only about analytical writing and academic essays. Some of the most powerful writing you can do is the writing that you do only for yourself. Routine journaling can have profound impacts. A rapidly growing body of scientific literature demonstrates that regular writing sessions offer surprising health benefits. Let me share with you just a few. Studies have shown that routine writing can improve memory recall, that writing on 3 consecutive days a week for 6 months reduced the number and intensity of symptoms in depression-vulnerable college students. Those who have biopsy wounds recovered faster when the patient wrote regularly before the operation compared to those who didn't write at all. Patients with asthma experience fewer attacks when they write about their condition. AIDS patients show higher T-cell counts when they use routine writing as supplemental support therapy. These are striking examples, and they illustrate that a practice of writing habit can produce powerful benefits beyond just becoming smarter, more eloquent, more persuasive, potentially better looking. 2, go see your professors during office hours. I'm serious. Go talk with us. Come speak face to face. We are curious about how we can help you learn, and we need you to ask questions that keep us curious. 3rd and final, engage in acts of radical civility. Seek out opportunities to participate in campus communities and activities that honor equality, that encourage ecological responsibility, and that champion diversity. As the famous philosopher Bill Murray said in a speech at Manhattan High School, there's a way to treat people, and it's called being cool. Being cool isn't a competitive thing like he's cooler than she is or he's cooler than she is. It's not that at all. It's who treats people with respect. Now, I know that I've placed a tall order in front of you, but I am convinced that if you equip yourself with habits of curiosity and curiosity about habits, your achievements while here at Oregon State, and importantly afterwards, will be substantial and far-reaching. I recognize that these are not easy challenges, and though the rewards are high, so too is the level of effort required. So, let's make a deal. I'll work my butt off every single day for you and your education, and you'll do the same, and we'll meet back up here in 4 years for graduation. Sound like a deal? Yeah? Okay, so here's how we'll do. If you're up for this, we'll shake on it by shouting "Go Beavs" on 3, okay? Let's do this together, as a collective, as proud members of one of the finest educational institutions in the world. All right, go Beavs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Beavs! Thank you.